Hello, white people. I have not been feeling very good over the last 4 to 6 weeks. And I thought it was because maybe I had a cold or the flu or allergies or something like that. And I had a headache, stuffed up sinuses, sore throat. They're all the same as allergies, flu, cold, all the same. So I do my regular cold and flu remedies and nothing works. I get on the internet and I look and see if there's something I might have missed. And I see somebody says, yeah, do half honey and half apple cider vinegar. I did that, and I'm telling you, it doesn't taste good at all, but it helps if you've got a sore throat. And then I was taking Zyrtec as well. Fortunately, I have a big bottle of Zyrtec. And so that was making me start to feel better. But I'm just so tired, and then I get a cough, and I'm just still feeling like crap. I'm sleeping all the time, laying around, and I don't have much of an appetite. Well, I mean, it's good, and I'll lose some weight, and I'll be able to fit into my smaller clothes. There's got to be a bright side to everything, right? So I'm still nauseated, and I get to the point where I don't sound like I have a cold. I didn't sound congested like I do now. But I hadn't eaten. What day was this? This is Monday or Tuesday or something like that. And I hadn't eaten all day. I just had just a little bit to drink. I was working on Gatorade. And I'm just fed up with laying around. So I decided to get on Facebook Marketplace. I find these dishes that match some glasses that I have back in Washington. And they're from the 1930s. They're gold around the edges, 24 karat gold, never rose. It's just probably something that you guys wouldn't be into. Something that I wanted. So I get dressed, I get in the car. It's a warm day. The air conditioning doesn't work in the car, and I don't do so well in the heat, but I'm driving down the road. I don't know, I get about 2 miles down the road, and I get to this I'm almost to the first four-way stop. And everything starts to go white. Yeah, everything went white. It was the weirdest thing. I could still kind of see everything was blurry. And I'm in the intersection. I turn left. There's a house with a nice big giant driveway there. So I pull into the driveway and I shake my head. I sit there. Oh, my body, it just hurts. My whole body is screaming. I just feel like crap. And I shake my head and color starts to come back. And I say, okay, all I need is 5 minutes. I just need to be able to keep it together for 5 minutes, and I can get home, park the car in the driveway, go climb in bed, take a nap. So I turn the car around, and at this point in time, I don't even know what time. Oh, it's after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's a little bit of traffic there. Some guy, he waves me in, and the second I start pulling out onto the street is when everything starts to go white again. So I put my car into park, and I'm right there in the intersection, okay, of this four-way stop. There, you can't go around it. The ditches out here are really deep. There's no shoulders. People can't go around you. And so I get out of the car, and I go to the guy's truck. He's driving this big red truck. And I say to him, I'm very sorry, but I'm losing my vision. Everything is going white. I can't see very well. And then I thought maybe, because I never had this happen before, I thought maybe I had low blood sugar from not eating. And so I said, you don't happen to have any sugar on you, do you? And he says, no, I don't. And so I go and I get in the car, and I can't remember when he handed me this, like one of those things with applesauce with baby food or whatever. He handed me one of those, and I don't know I think it was, and then I squished some in my mouth, and I made a huge mess. I got it on my shirt, I got it on my face, I got it everywhere, but I got a swallow in, and I guess I passed out. Fortunately, I swallowed, and because the guy was asking me, he's like, do you want me to call you an ambulance? I said, no, I do not want to go to the hospital for any reason whatsoever. I do not want to go to the hospital. And he says, okay, well, I guess I passed out. And I come to, and I'm dreaming. And then I look and all the color is back in the world, and I'm looking at him and he's talking to a 911 operator, and she's giving him instructions on what to do if I throw up, turn me on my side or whatever I'm sitting. But and then the lady asks him how old I am, and he says 30. If you're new to this channel, I'm 51. And for some dumb reason, I had to correct him. No, I'm 51, I'm 51. Like, that would be relevant or something. I don't know. Is that relevant? In my mind at the time, I thought it was relevant. I thought it would be important. Don't make me young. I'm old. I'm a fossil, okay? As fossils, we can't be young. I don't know. That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? And then the police come, and I asked the guy, I said, how long was they out? And he said, oh, you were out for 5 minutes. And I said, do you think I had a seizure? He says, he looks at me like, well, I don't know. He said, your jaw was shaking. Probably not. I probably just fell asleep. I don't know what's wrong with me. Don't care. I just want to go home. I do not want to go to the hospital. Officer comes, and then the ambulance comes, and they take up both the lanes. I mean, the intersections are only 2 lanes, one going each way. And so we're blocking traffic, and the officer, and then I'd taken a nap, because I'd passed out, so the color had come back. My body's still screaming and in agony. And so I get in the car and I follow the officer to a church parking lot and put my car there, and the ambulance pulls in and they have me get out, and they said, let us check you out. And I said, okie dokie, go ahead, check me out. And they're asking me my birth year, and I tell them, and they say 1978. I told them 3 times. For some reason that day, everybody wanted me to be younger than I was. Maybe I am younger and I just don't know. Who knows? I am 11 on the inside, but the outside, I'm pretty sure I'm 51. I feel it. So they took my blood pressure. They took my blood sugar. They did the oxygen saturation. My oxygen saturation in room air was 96% at sea level. That's not good. My blood sugar was 127. My blood pressure was 100/70. And I don't remember what my heart rate was. I think my heart rate was 78, so not bad. But when I was sitting on that stretcher with my feet up, it felt so much better. When your blood pressure is low and then you elevate your feet, it does help tremendously. At least in my case, it did. And when I first got in the ambulance too, I said, let me tell you about my medical history. I do not do drugs. I do not drink. I am not having any problems like that. I said, I probably have anemia. Who knows? And so they went from there. But the officer, he had to make sure I wasn't some sort of a drug addict, and I don't need people giving me Narcan, thinking they're helping me. So I start to feel better. And then in my head, I said, okay, I feel good enough. All I have to do is feel good enough for 5 minutes so I can get home, go put myself to bed, and I will be fine. Well, the officer, I get out of the ambulance, the officer, he wants to stick his finger in my face, have me do the, follow my finger, and I do, and I finally tell him, I said, look, that's just making me dizzy. And then I got to go sit down, and I said, everything's starting to turn white again. Son of a gun. And I sit down with my hands in my head in my hands and feeling like crap, and I ask one of the young guys and say, how warm is it today? And he says, oh, it's warm. He won't tell me. It's probably 82 degrees. So they have me get back into the ambulance, and they took my blood pressure again. My blood pressure's gone up a little bit, and then I talked to them a little bit, and then they said, well, if you don't want to go, and I signed all their forms, refusing care. I think they were pretty surprised. I don't know how many people refused to go to the hospital. They wanted to take me home. The officer said, no, I'll take her home. At this point, I can see he's being pretty nosy. He says, I know that you have a medical condition and you really should go to the hospital. But, he's a police officer, and they're not always on your side. Sometimes they can act like they are, but, Anyway, so he took me home. And I get home, and I instantly, I went to sleep. I took a nap, and I think I slept for about 2 days, but I was just so dry, and I can't eat. I'm really nauseated, but I'm thinking about what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Well, I have a brain cyst that I was born with. A lot of people have some sort of weird structures in their brain or whatever. That's not a big deal. And I thought, okay, first thought was, did that pop? Is that why everything went white? And I gave it some thought, and I said, no. If that brain cyst popped in my head, then my head would have filled up with, because it's probably got cerebral spinal fluid in it or something. My skull would have filled up with more fluid. I would have had a massive headache. No, it wasn't that. And when the guy did the test for my, stick his finger in my face, my eyes have to follow his finger, it gave me a headache when I did that. I said, okay, so that thing is still intact. What in the world is wrong with me? Well, I stopped taking my iron for a short period of time, and I haven't had any iron infusions in the last couple of years, and I stopped eating liver. So basically, I need a blood transfusion. And I'm glad I didn't go to the hospital. I really need a blood transfusion. And I would feel so much better if I were to get a blood transfusion. Even though the last time I got a blood transfusion, it took all day, it took about 8 hours, and they only got 1 unit of blood in me because I started having a massive headache and difficulty breathing. It felt so much better when I got that blood transfusion. But I'm thinking, and I'm not all together, because my blood level is really low. I'm severely anemic, and I'm thinking I'm glad I didn't go to the hospital, even though I really want a blood transfusion. The last time we had like a big national or international health scare was AIDS, and that was back in the 80s. And people who got blood transfusions during that time, they got blood that was tainted with either HIV or with hepatitis C. And I know somebody who got some of that tainted hepatitis C blood and ended up having to have a liver transplant. No, thank you. Not going through that. I will lay in bed and suck on a cast iron skillet before I go get a blood transfusion and worry about if the blood supply has been infected with the novel diseases going around. And so I'm here at this, what's the website? TheScientist.com. And I was just looking up to see what tests they have to, what tests they put the blood through to see what it is. And right here it says that many potential infectious agents might still be present for which routine testing isn't performed. For a variety of reasons, pathogens such as prions, which cause mad cow disease, Epstein-Barr virus, the cause of mononucleosis, cytomegalovirus, which causes birth defects, parvovirus B19, which causes a rash, fever, and anemia, Ebola virus, dengue virus, chikungunya virus, and, the current viruses that everybody's hysterical about are not subject to routine testing. Okay. See? I'm not paranoid. Am I paranoid? I don't know if I'm paranoid, but it's just really sucking. So I have no appetite, and I can't eat very much, and I'm losing weight, which is good because I'll be able to fit into my regular clothes now because I am kind of a fatty. All right, white people, that's the damage for now. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to your thoughts below.